So I want to talk about Rebel Moon and give you a little bit of a review, okay? Now, I'm going to cross over between the movie novelization and the movie itself, okay? The movie novelization, I will foremost say I do not recommend, though there are plenty of extra details and a lot of character stories, and the opening to the movie novelization is incredible because it dives into a character that many people don't realize is in the film, and they have a big backstory, and I believe they're going to have an even bigger future. Now, with that, I would recommend you subscribe to the channel because I'm going to do more movies on different characters and things you may have missed in the movie Rebel Moon because of the movie novelization. Trust me, there was a few parts in the movie novelization that I definitely skipped due to their not really necessary to the story and also extremely inappropriate. So I would not recommend it. I got it without knowing that this was in there because the movie doesn't include these things, which I can appreciate. And I'm hoping when they release a Snyder cut, he doesn't include these things either, because nobody really needs to know Arthaleus / Korra is a horn dog. Okay? So, what we have in the movie novelization is details to characters that are super important, and the movie doesn't dive into them, which is where I come to a review of the movie being maybe about average. I really want to love this movie.
I love you so much. But
And by love this movie and say it's a great movie, I mean like Phantom Menace type love and great. We know that the acting isn't necessarily the best in the world, though Rebel Moon I would definitely put above Phantom Menace in the acting department. But as far as scripting goes, there's definitely some things that were a little bit forced in the movie because we don't have back context like we did in the novelization. Okay, so it just kind of leaves you wondering, where did this character come up with saying this? And in the novelization, you get a little more insight and it feels a little more natural due to the third person perspective, objective view, where you kind of get a glimpse into other characters as well instead of just one focal point in the movie. Now, that transition is hard in movies these days, but I think it's doable, though most seems like directors, writers, whoever else is involved doesn't really seem to want to try. I will say that this was definitely, as far as storylines go, an exceptional film. It's unoriginal in its storyline, as many people compare it to Magnificent Seven or movies of that nature. I would say that they did a pretty good job. The only problem that I once again had with this, besides the script, is the pacing. It felt rushed. Now, listening to the movie novelization, it was also rushed in there too.
Why do you suppose I just hurled a chair at your head, Neiman?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
The tempo?
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
It's just that they take more words to describe a situation, so it doesn't feel as rushed. But really, it was just show up to a planet, recruit somebody, on our way. And that's kind of what it is. And that part definitely felt rushed in the movie. In the book, it felt a little more natural because, once again, you get a little more details, and this is often why people say books are better than the movies. I would say that this movie brings a good ending to it where you experience loss, but you also experience a win, which I think is more realistic to any story, and it makes it more relatable and immersive. A lot of movies these days is we win all the time because we're the good guys. And the question is here, are we really the good guys? Now, I'm not saying Atticus Noble is a good guy, and especially not in the novelization. The dude's a freak. Him and Korra were definitely two peas in a pod. But beside the point, we get to see an ending where it cost us something. But the ending in the novelization being much better, as once again, you get multiple endings in the book. And I don't mean multiple different endings, you just get endings for each storyline and different characters. Because in the movie, we don't get to see where Eris and the girl on the planet that he's falling in love with, that I can't remember the name right now, this chick, that they're starting to butt a romance. In the movie, they hint at it with longing stares and certain camera movements, but we don't get to see their details and what they're doing there, which pay attention to my video in the future on what you missed in the movie that they talked about in the book, so that you're prepared for when the new movie comes out in April on certain things that maybe they're going to finally dive into, but maybe not. I don't know. Then you also get to see what happens to Jimmy, the robot, who is setting up to be one of my favorite characters, definitely one of my favorite characters in a sci-fi film. Right now, it's super cool to see where he's going and what he's doing. I'm excited about it. But then you also get to see what happens with Atticus and the conversation Atticus has with his overlord, Arthelaus' father, who we all know, which my theory behind him will be coming out in a separate video, so make sure you subscribe and pay attention for that one as well. But his conversation with him leads us to believe a lot more other stuff, and I'll be having some theory videos around that. But overall, this whole movie could have been better. You realize that there's so much more that they could have put in that would have made this movie so much better. Instead, it seemed like maybe Snyder leaned into the culture of let's make flashy, bright picture go crazy, instead of let's have an in-depth story with some good fight scenes and make us relate to the characters. But to wrap it all up, this movie is a great movie in my book, even though it is an average movie. And I know that doesn't make sense, but like I said, Phantom Menace, that's my comparison. I love The Phantom Menace, and it's a great movie. But when you look at it from the artistic standpoint of a movie, it's like a 2-3-star movie out of 5, and it's not that great. But we love it anyway. So that's going to be my comparison. That's to wrap it up for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if there's other videos about Rebel Moon that you want to see in the future, make sure you stay tuned and also comment down below what you thought of the movie. God bless.